I always wanted like a 69 442 Olds, but I'll probably never.
Mm.
I don't know what that is, the picture is going to be up right now, so I'm going to go. Ooh, why did you want that car so badly, Snippet?
Because they're so sweet looking.
Mm. I'm here with Snippins, Eric, and today we're talking cars with friends who love to give each other the business.
I had a car that I loved. It was a 1986 Buick Century. It was gold. It was my parents', and then it was my older sister's, and then it was mine. It was one of those old Buicks where it had the bench seats in the front, so you could pack in like all your friends. When you push down on the gas pedal, the gas gauge like drops and then comes back up when you stop accelerating. Yeah, like my sister managed to put like cigarette burns in the roof on the inside and like all this. So the thing was in just horrible condition by the time I got it. I realized that I had to get a new car the second time the engine block froze during winter when I was in high school, and I had to have it towed twice from the parking lot in the middle of winter. I love that car.
It froze because of the cold.
Yeah.
My first car was in LA. It was a Chevy Blazer.
Ooh.
And I
Was
had
it white?
no, not the K10 Blazer, not the giant one. It was the S10 Blazer, the smaller
Hmm.
Blazer. But
Yeah.
it was black and silver. It was a very fun car. All my friends would just pile in it in high school. I would give everyone rides home at the end of the day, so I wouldn't get home till like 5:30 after dropping like 6 people off. It was terrible, but we had a lot of fun. We used to just tool around.
Yeah, that Buick was like it wasn't, I wouldn't call it a boat, but it floated when it drove. It was just so smooth all the time. You could hit like a 6-inch deep pothole. You wouldn't even know you hit it.
Way like
There's a different kind of
7,000 tons.
suspension, I think.
Yeah, the
Hmm.
suspension's all
It was
floaty and
much softer. Yeah. My second favorite car, I didn't own it. My dad did. He had a 1991 Lincoln Town Car, or
My
1990 Lincoln Town
mom
Car.
has the last year that the Lincoln Town Car is bigger than a truck.
I love that car.
She
To this
still
day, I still love it.
drives it. She still drives it.
Good.
it's still
Crazy.
drivable.
Yeah.
The thing's awesome. They were still built to last back then.
Take it easy. Take it easy.
You could put a family of 5 in the trunk,
Yes.
and it was
She bought
unreal.
the house that she lives in now, she bought because that car fits in the garage.
So there's a reason why that was a mobster's favorite, because of all the bodies you could put.
All the bodies you could put in the back.
I miss my standard shift transmission vehicles.
The manual transmission does allow you to really concentrate on driving a little bit more. I feel like you can't
Two
like.
hands.
Well, it forces you to use all 4 appendages.
Mm.
So
I miss that. I wouldn't want it all the time, but every now and then I wish I could just drive a standard.
one of the guys that Bonies and I used to work with bought a Shelby Mustang, and it was black with a black matte racing stripe, and he had just installed the cue ball shifter knob on it. I got to drive that home after work, having a fucking blast. That thing was so crazy, but the hood comes up and then comes down. It blocks half of your view,
Yeah.
so you can't really see how close you are to the thing in front of you. But I loved that car. That car was like the stick shift in that thing was just so tight. It was almost impossible to like fuck up, because it was just you could only go where the car wanted you to shift it.
My Joseph, among the many other things that's wrong with him, he's colorblind. He bought a teal truck and it has a purple, like not even purple. It's like a mauve. It's a weird stripe.
It is.
It's like the one they made for like to see if girls will buy it, and he thinks it's hunter green. He keeps calling it hunter green. He told me this delightful story. He was at the car wash, and there was a guy with a big giant truck in front of him, and then they were wiping his truck down, and then Joe's little teal truck was behind his, and they started wiping that down, and he was talking to the guy because they were just waiting. And the guy's like, "Oh my god, look at that chick truck, huh? Where's that girl? I bet she's a looker." And Joe was like, "Yeah," like he didn't want to. They finished
He
Joe's.
got truck shamed.
They finished Joe's truck first because it was smaller, and so they're still wiping his down. And the guy like holds up a cloth thing that they wipe a car down with that say it's ready. And then Joe said he didn't move because he didn't want the guy to know that it was his truck. And then so the guy's like waving it like because he knows it's Joe's. And Joe's still standing there talking to the guy. And then he starts honking the horn. And then Joe finally like just waddled over and got into his truck. Because he should have just said it's my truck and that's Hunter Green and I'm colorblind. Wow. Like that's what he should have said to me every time I said.
He should have said it was his truck and then asked him for his number.
Ooh.
I love connection.
Maybe we can go mudding sometime.
What did you call your truck again, Snippins?
Lola.
Before your Lola, what other cars have you had, Snippins?
Wait, hang on. What kind of truck is Lola?
She's a Chevrolet. What is she?
The Silverado?
So she's a Silverado.
Okay. What year is she?
2017, I think.
I have a 2018 Silverado.
Oh.
When the first time Snippins came to my house, my neighbor was outside, and then Snippins got out of her truck, came over, walked over to my house, and my neighbor was like, "Oh, I like your truck," and then Snippins was like, "Wah," and the guy's like, I like your truck," and then Snippins was like, "Wah," and just walked right by him and started walking to my door. So my neighbor's like, "What the?" And he's like, "I like your truck," and then Snippins was like, "Her name is Lola," and she opened my door and walked by my door. It was just wah, wah. Her name is Lola. That's the only three things. That's the first three things she said when she came to my house for the first time. She didn't acknowledge her poor neighbor who was trying to talk to her.
Did I lie?
Well, if you were a duck, I think that would have been valid dialogue.
So, what was the car before Lola?
I had a Lincoln. I think it was a Lincoln Zephyr.
I don't even know
the SUV.
No.
It was like that weird hybrid one.
No, it's what the MKZs were before they came out with MKZs.
Oh shit! Okay, nice.
I enjoyed that car.
After Goldie died, which is the Buick Century,
Was bound to happen.
Okay, so the original paint job was gold, but by the time I got it, it was rust. There's just because there's salt on the roads, and the whole car is just corroding at that point from upstate New York, right?
The trucks here also, like the wheel well, is just all destroyed.
Yep. So after that, I got a '98 Ford Escort, the sedan one. So it was like small, and I wanted the wagon. My dad wanted to buy American, but this was like the round, bubbly kind of Ford when they were just hot garbage. So I had the car for 3 years because I think I got it my senior year. It was like 10 grand, I think, altogether for the car. I worked through the night of the 30th. I come home the 31st at like 8 o'clock. I park my car in front of my apartment. I go inside, I sleep, I get up the next morning to go back to work on New Year's Day because we had a deadline. And my car is half up on the curb, and the car in front of mine and my car are just smashed into. Oh. Apparently, some kid decided to get drunk on New Year's Eve, ran into my car, not insured. So his mother's insurance was what they offered. They wanted to give me $1,000 for the damages, and then I ended up getting $3,600 because I went through my own insurance company. And that was the end of my, I guess, my time with the Ford Escort, and then ended up getting a Hyundai Elantra that I kept for the next 13 years.
When I had my Toyota Prius, I was driving around with the air conditioning on, and it smelled like death. Like someone had died in there. And then I opened
the Freon.
I opened the hood. I opened the glove compartment. I looked all around the car and nothing. My dad said, "Take it to this guy who's really good." So I went over to him, and he's like, "Yeah, you probably have like a dead rat or something." And he opened my glove compartment, and he pulled my glove compartment of the Prius out completely, and there's a weird little hatch in there. And he opened that up, and there was a dead baby possum. And it was just dead right where the vent is. So all the air was blowing right through its carcass into everybody's mouth.
Oh.
Delicious.
Oof.
Delicious. It was a possum, baby possum. It looked like a rat, but it was a possum, and a super long tail, and he was holding it with a pair of pliers. But he took it out, and then the smell went away. When
I was working that same job, when I still had the Escort, I drove it to work. I opened up the trunk, and in the trunk I had, because I was an idiot, I had like a 12-inch subwoofer and stuff pushed off to the side. I open it up, and there's a giant cobweb over my speaker. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? At the time, I didn't know what Black Widows were because I'd never experienced them. And one of the girls that I worked with, she's like, "It's a Black Widow." And I was like, "Oh shit, I'm going to kill it." She's like, "No, you have to set it free." And I was like, "To do what?" So I'm like, "If you want to do it, go for it." And she scoops it up, pulls it out, dumps it in the bush, comes back and says, "You should probably get rid of those too." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Those fuzzy things right there." I was like, "What are they?" She's like, "Eggs." And then I think that was like a week later that my car got totaled. So I'm kind of okay with it.
It was cursed. I had to take my car to the mechanic once because my pet snake got loose in my car and climbed up inside the dashboard.
Mm.
So they had to take the whole dashboard out to get the snake out.
What kind of snake was it?
A
Ball
ball
python?
Mhm.
It's warm over there, snuggling, until it gets near the engine and just cooks itself alive. I would imagine.
No.
I
you
used to be afraid of snakes, but my friend, he had a snake. He was just like, "Here, hold this," and handed it to me. And I'm like, "Ah." And he's like, "I'm like, what if it bites me?" He's like, "It's a ball python. It's got sandpaper in its mouth. You'll be fine." And I was like, "Yeah, all right." And then it just like wrapped itself around my arm and just stayed there with its head just kind of like facing outward. And it was just loving life. Just like, "You're warm. I'm gonna hold on to you."
Yeah. I think it was very relaxing the way they move on you. I think it feels relaxing.
I always like the Lincoln Continental with the suicide doors.
Hmm.
I always love that car.
Have you seen the Spritzy new Broncos? I like the new Broncos actually. They're kind of cool.
Yeah, they're nice looking.
I'm already tired of seeing them, to be honest.
Oh, are they all over the place up there?
Yeah.
Here's the thing that I don't understand about car companies. They have all these great classic cars. What's wrong with re-releasing like a 67 Chevelle, basically, right? The same body, but made out of today's materials. Like, why wouldn't they just have limited runs of like all these old cars? Like, I would buy one of those in a freaking heartbeat.
Wouldn't they have to overhaul the way they make things?
Well, no, because you just have a specialized factory that you use to just swap those out, and then you only make like 1,000 of them. You don't make a lot of them.
You just build a whole factory to make 17 cars. That's your idea.
Yeah, it's pretty cost effective.
That makes sense. So I have tallied our votes, and feel free to write in the comments section who you think is never right in this episode. That's what Elon Musk did when he made a factory just to make that ridiculous truck for like 7.
Well, his money doesn't come from the cars; it comes from making the batteries. He doesn't give a shit about the cars. It's the batteries and the technology that goes into it that's being licensed to everybody else. That's where all of his money's coming from. I just made that up right now. I don't even know if that's true.
You're never right. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want more content from the Never Right podcast.